Hey guys, thank you for clicking on the video. We're going to be changing out the hub assembly or wheel bearing on this 2002 Jeep Grand Cherokee. So without further ado.
Okay, today we're going to be changing the hub assembly on this 2002 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Most hub assemblies are fairly similar, so this should work with most vehicles. With this specific vehicle, you will need an extension, a driver, an 18mm socket, an 18mm wrench, a 13mm wrench, a good pair of channel locks or vice grips, a 36mm axle lug socket, and a driver for that. This is a 1/2-inch driver for that. The new hub assembly, a couple dog helpers. Don't go under the vehicle. Okay, and then may have to put them in the house. And then a jack, okay, and any type of jack should work. The one that came with the Jeep is the one I'm using. And then you're going to go ahead and take the wheel off, which is what I've done here. Remember to break the lug nuts before you jack the vehicle up. It makes it a lot easier. You don't need somebody to hold the brake to do that. Okay, so we're just going to get it started. First of all, you're going to have to remove the brake caliper. Okay, this is the entire thing here. And to break that loose, you're going to need an 18mm wrench. Okay, and I've got to think about which way that goes. Okay. Just hitting it a few times with your hand or a hammer or another wrench should crack it loose, okay? Once that one's cracked loose, you can go ahead and do the same thing with the other one. I don't know if you can see that down there or not, but okay. I'm just gonna trade hands here. This is actually interesting. It's actually a lot easier to do looking right through the camera on the camera phone. That might be another hack for you guys. Okay, so once I have those loose, I can go ahead and use my 18mm socket to take those all the way out. Let me see if I can get this set up here for you guys. Hopefully I've kept that the same direction. Otherwise I'm going to be either starting or finishing upside down. I can never tell. Alright. I'll make sure the majority of the video is this way from now on. This stuff's fairly self-explanatory if you've ever had any mechanical experience at all. The one thing that I do caution is making sure you're going the right way with it. Okay. This is a dirty job. You're going to get dirty. It's not a lot of grease. You don't have to worry as much about your hands as just the road grime and dirt underneath. But don't be afraid of it. You shouldn't be afraid of it if you're doing this project anyway. I realize a lot of you are coming to look at this because this is not you're not very experienced with it, the majority of you, but the ones that are could probably back me up in saying that it's a dirty job. Okay, now most people here say that you should hang the brake caliper with a wire, but I actually like to just flip it up and set it right here. It doesn't do any damage to anything there. Take off your rotor. Be very careful not to scratch the surface of the rotor. I like to set it right on the tire over there. Okay, make sure you have all the bolts from your caliper out, and then let me make sure this thing's still recording. I've done this a few times where I'll be talking forever and it won't be recording. Yep. Looks like it is. Okay, so now what we need to loosen is the axle nut, and then these bolts that are 3 of them all the way around. And these are going to be, this is going to be the 36 millimeter socket with a 1/2-inch driver, and these are going to be the 13 millimeter. Let's see if I can bring this around. They're anyway, not a very good amount of light, but 13 millimeter 12-point bolts. Don't worry if you don't think you have 12-point bolts. You probably do. If you have a box end wrench and it looks like this is 12-point, and that works just as well. You don't have to buy a special socket. So let me set this back right here where you guys can probably see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and loosen these up first. That is the one problem. There we go. If you can't get it loose at first, try using another wrench. You always want to try and knock it loose so that if there's any rust buildup, you can break that rust. You don't want to, I've seen some people pry like this. I don't know if you can see that or not, but if you lock these two together and push down, you get more leverage. If you do that, you will break the bolt. I've had some bad experience with that in the past. You don't want to, actually recently, you don't want to do that. So you just hit it loose and eventually the rust will break free if there is any in. Let's see. Okay. One more. This one's harder because I have to hit it up. There we go. Okay, so those are all loose. Fairly loose. Let's see. Now, there's a cotter pin. Pull that out. Okay, cotter pin. Then there's this 12-point cover. It's not the nut itself. And there's a spring. It's very important to hold on to this stuff. It's almost impossible to find. Let's see. Now we're going to want to take, this is from the jack. It's just a bar, and what this does is make it so that it holds between these two studs and holds the thing in position so that you can get this nut loose. There we go. That should only be about 90 pounds on that nut. It shouldn't be much more than that. That's what the torque rating for this vehicle is. Okay, and then there's another little washer in there. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll come out when I take the. Actually, I can. This is a 2-wheel drive Jeep, not a 4-wheel drive. So this is where the CV joint would normally go in, and you would slide this on and off of the CV joint. This would normally stay put, but because this is 2-wheel drive, it's got a spindle. So I was able to cheat a little bit there. Okay. Let's see. Now I just have to take these 12 points. The phone just died, so let me go over where we're at. We jacked it up, took the wheel off. Okay. Removed the axle nut with a 36 millimeter socket. Made sure to hang on to the washer, the cover, the nut, the spring, and the cotter pin, which is underneath of that. Got an 18 millimeter. We've taken off the brake caliper and set it up here. Held onto the 2 bolts, okay, which go in here and here. And then now we're removing the 12-point bolts. Let's see, right here. Okay, and we're using the box end of this 13 millimeter wrench to remove that. Okay, let's get us back to where we're at. Holy cow, this thing has a light and I had no idea how it works. But that's another thing, if you're ever recording doing something like this, you're going to want to have a protector of some sort on your phone, because it's going to get covered in grease and grime, mainly road grime from this job, like I said earlier in the first part of this video. Let's see. Make sure we're turning these the right way. Remember, they do have angle drills that'll reach in here. They've got 12-point sockets that you can put on here and use a socket wrench. I don't feel like purchasing a 12-point socket wrench set. I'm just a regular backyard mechanic. This is my personal vehicle, and I just thought I would show you how this is done. Now that I know, I want you to be prepared for anything that you maybe weren't expecting. I know the first time I changed this, I didn't realize that there was this huge axle nut here. I don't know why I didn't think there'd be an axle nut. I have had some experience with other replacing CV joints and stuff, and there's, you know, always an axle nut. That's what holds the, should normally hold the axle in. This one's got a spindle like I showed you earlier. Let's see, I've got one more to remove. Okay. Seriously? What's wrong with it? What's it trying to tell me? Okay, it's still recording. Just 5% battery. So let's try and get this done in the next couple minutes here, so I don't lose you guys. Checking the phone is like a constant thing for sure. Okay. Now I've gotten all of these 3 bolts out. Okay. If you can't wiggle it out, hit it with a hammer lightly. Remember, it's the old one, so if you have a spindle, you're going to want to keep the spindle.
We were attempting to remove the hub assembly and change that out on this 2002 Jeep Grand Cherokee. For the most part, it worked. I've got a short video for you guys. The phone cut out a couple times on me, so basically what we've got is a first part section. What I wanted to say at the end of the first part was to be cautious of any lines coming in, like the speed sensors, things like that, not to damage those. And then at the end of the second part, what I wanted to talk about was basically being careful to keep everything other than just the hub assembly. You want to keep all the washers, retaining pins, the spindle, anything pertaining to the CV joint or any of the nuts or bolts, because they do not come with the new one, and if you bring them in to exchange or if you throw them away, they are very, very, very difficult to obtain. If you guys have any questions, you can comment and I will respond as quickly as possible. And check out some of my other videos of working on this this crazy awesome Jeep. Thank you.